Are you looking for a healthy way to boost your energy levels, improve your mood, and support your overall health? Spoiler alert. I already know the answer is yes, and that's why I'm telling you about Goli Vitamins. Goli is a leading brand of gummy vitamins that are made with all natural ingredients and free of artificial flavors, colors, and sweeteners. Plus, they're vegan and gluten-free. Goli vitamins are perfect for people of all ages and lifestyles. Busy parent, college student, bodybuilder, does not matter. Goli can help you feel your best. With Goli vitamins, you can finally get the energy, focus, and support you need to live your best life. Get 10% off your first order when you visit Goli.com and use the code PODMOM at checkout. Feel your best naturally and reach your goals with Goli. Welcome to the Relationship Review Podcast. Our goal for each episode is to figure out why and how our relationships make us who we are. I'm your host, Edison Westbrook, and I'm excited to be back for Season 4 and these very interesting topics. Most of all, I'm glad you're here, and I hope you find this episode helpful. This is the Relationship Review. Hello, and thanks for joining me on the Relationship Review Podcast. I'm your host, Edison, and in this episode, we're focused on friction in relationships and also how to resolve conflict with the people in our lives. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge and give credit for a quote I mentioned in episode 1, which was, "The most important person you talk to every day is yourself." It was posted by Chisa Penix Brown on Instagram. The rest of her post asked, "What are you saying to yourself?" And as we know from episode 1, those conversations and that relationship with yourself is intrapersonal communication. And if you're on Instagram, go ahead and look Chisa up and follow her. She's a business guru, the mental wealth lifestylist, and the host of Real Ass Affirmations, which is a podcast that if you have never heard, you probably need in your life. So thank you to Chisa. Another person I follow on Instagram is Kier Gaines. He's a licensed therapist, and he recently posted a reel about how to have more productive argument, which seems counterintuitive, but it definitely is a thing, and this felt perfect for the topic of conflict resolution.
3 things that'll help you have more productive arguments. 1, instant replay. After I explain the way that I feel or see things, I ask the person to play it back for me. I want to make sure that I'm being clear here. What did you just get out of what I just said? This also puts the emphasis on the clarity of my message versus their ability to comprehend. It keeps the problem. It doesn't make the person the problem. 2, run it back. In a perfect world, we would only have to repeat ourselves 1 time. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. A person will only understand what you tell them. But there's such large gaps between someone hearing what you say, them understanding what you say, and them applying what you say. I've reframed it as an opportunity to present the same message in a different way. 3, see the difference. We can't afford to be totally unmovable in our stance, but we also can't afford to be a pushover. Take time to develop a strong idea of your non-negotiables versus the things that you're more flexible around. Put it on paper and practice being firm and consistent for when those opportunities do pop up. You will never have strength in the area that you don't exercise. Job well done.
He really broke it down in such an easy to understand way. And because it sounds so simple, it seems like a skill that everyone should just have, especially since we have so many relationships to manage and people to interact with every day. I've heard people say things like, well, if you don't have conflict in your relationship, then you don't have a real relationship. Or I've known people that just accept the idea that war is for peace, meaning the more harsh the fight, the better we're going to make up. Like fighting for the sake of fighting is what brings people closer together. That's not always the case, and it doesn't work for everybody. I actually think it's called dysfunction, but that is not my business. I just don't know of many people who are willing to break ties and cast aside someone they have deep feelings for because that person made them too happy. Or somebody being like, you know what, you listen to me too much. You respect everything I say and all my feelings. You got to go. I haven't heard that. What I have heard about is conflict causing irreparable harm and leading to the end of marriages, parent-child relationships, causing people to walk off their jobs, ending friendships, having people spend the night in jail after a wild time at the club. Just the bottom line is that conflict plays a huge role in how we interact with each other. Strangely enough, it doesn't seem like anyone has to be taught to love someone else or to, like someone else. But we do have to know and understand how to have and navigate conflict. In this episode, we'll discuss 3 important conflict resolution skills. Those are active listening, staying calm and respectful, and being willing to compromise. Ever been watching a show or reading a book where the characters feel one thing, but then they say something completely different, or they never say what they're thinking to the person who's most important to them? We're outside the story and we can see all these missed moments, all these opportunities, and we have the backstory on the true affection and how, I've really loved you since the 2nd grade, but I just couldn't say it. And you find yourself shouting at the character, oh my God, just tell them how you feel. Just say it. I think those scenarios happen a lot in real life, where we want to reveal more of ourselves or say what's really on our mind or in our heart to the people we care about. But we also don't want to be embarrassed or give someone else the upper hand or control of our emotions, especially in moments of conflict. One of the most important skills for resolving conflict is active listening. We have to pay attention to what the other person is saying and to their body language. We also need to ask clarifying questions if there's something we heard that we didn't understand. And then before we leave the conversation, we have to make sure that we understood what they said and that they understood what we said. When you listen attentively, you demonstrate to the other person that despite what we're going through right now, you genuinely want to hear them out. Doing this helps you to maintain the trust you've spent weeks, months, years building, and it deepens your level of understanding, which is essential for successfully navigating your way through turmoil. The next part is stay calm and respectful. For the longest time, the hardest thing for me to do was be calm or show any level of respect during conflict. People who go from 0 to 100 real quick. That was me. Woo. It is easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment and forget that you care about the person you're in conflict with and that you love them and don't want to hurt their feelings, especially when you have played the dozens, as they say, or you had to be trained in joning. Like as a little kid, you get really good at keeping your defenses up, and it's usually during times of conflict. So naturally, when conflict comes up later, then guess what? I'm going to hit you with these skills. Usually things get taken to another level. And then what we're focused on is our anger about what's happening. And maybe even disappointment in the other person because, you're just not hearing me out. So then we shift our negative energy toward them instead of the issue that we are trying to get through. We have to keep the problem and not make the person the problem. If we can manage to stay calm and respectful, the chances increase that we can actually resolve the issue and maybe even get something out of it, like growth and bonding in our relationship. By no means will we always agree with what the other person has to say. I don't even think that's healthy. But we should try to have an open mind and understand their point of view. The last thing we have to do is be willing to compromise. If you are anything like me, when you're in the heat of conflict or in an argument, I'm not trying to compromise with you because you're wrong. How are we supposed to see eye to eye on something when all you need to do is see it my way? The compromise is important because it shows that you're willing to give a little, to be slightly flexible, and to stay focused on the main thing, which is finding a solution, not winning the argument. Compromise does not mean that you have to give up everything you want or you believe, or that you even have to agree with what the other person is saying. Sometimes compromise is agreeing to disagree, but the key is always to focus on solution. Resolving conflict can be a challenge, but it's part of maintaining healthy relationships, healthy friendships, healthy interactions. Some important things to remember are timing. You have got to choose the right time and place to have a conversation about what has you at odds with someone. When you're tired, angry, hungry, just got some bad news, walking in from the office where everybody was getting on your nerves, that is not the time. And the situation is probably going to seem worse. Focus on the issue, not the person. Personal attacks and name calling will never move you in the direction of a solution. Those tactics are going to move you toward somebody catching hands, or the end of your relationship, the end of your friendship, maybe being fired from your job. This one is big. It's being willing to apologize. Own up to where you may have misstepped or made a mistake, and acknowledging those things to the person you're having conflict with might make all the difference. Apologizing sincerely shows that you care about the relationship and that you genuinely care about the person. Now look, it cannot be one of those backhanded apologies. Well, I'm sorry if you felt that way about it. Well, I'm sorry that's how you took it. Well, I'm sorry you can't get out of your feelings about it. I'm sorry you can't stand to see me shine. None of those are real apologies. Okay. And they're probably going to start a fight. Or at least make the argument worse. So sincerely reflecting on the situation and offering acknowledgement that you are aware of like the part you played, that goes a long way. You can ask yourself, how do you really manage conflict that comes up in your relationships? Did you already know about these skills? Are you already utilizing them? Or have you tried but didn't have a great result? Has conflict resolution saved your relationship? Or do you feel like this is a way to, quote unquote, fight fair? The biggest takeaway from incorporating conflict resolution skills into your interpersonal relationships is practice makes perfect. Thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, please know how much I appreciate you. Visit our website, relationshipreviewpodcast.com, and subscribe to our emails. You'll be invited to take a 1-minute relationship survey that will help us decide on future topics for the show. And please remember to connect with us on Instagram and help us grow our community. Our featured partner for this episode is The Queen's Guide to Life. Be royal, be regal, be you, with designs that are sure to motivate and energize you and everyone who sees you. Visit thequeensguidetolife.com or find a link on the offers page of our website. Remember to be kind to others and be good to yourself. Until next time, this is The Relationship Review Podcast is an independent and original production created by me, Edison Westbrook. Our goal is to unlock more meaningful connections in our relationships by learning more about what makes us who we are. If you enjoyed this episode and love the show, you can help others find it by giving us a review or a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you found the episode helpful, please share it with a friend. This episode was produced by Coca and published on Spotify. We appreciate our sources and contributors to this episode, especially those of you who have written to share stories with us. If you have a comment, a question, or a suggestion, send us an email to relationshipreviewpodcast@gmail.com. As always, we are most grateful for you. If you want to help us grow the show, please consider supporting our work. Go to Relationship Review Podcast and click support for more information.